Hey everybody, welcome at Nerdpost27. How's it going? Today we will start with an ongoing series of videos that will dive deep into the vast and rich history of Middle-earth, the mystical world where the epic story of the Lord of the Rings takes place. The story of Frodo and the One Ring is easily one of the most beloved and widely known stories ever told. But Middle-earth is so much more than just the setting for The Lord of the Rings. It is an entire world with its own ages, gods, peoples, and stories. Lots and lots of stories. Epic tales that shaped the world of Middle-earth long before the story of The Lord of the Rings. There are thousands of years of tales. To unpack them all, it is best to start as simple as possible by breaking down the history of Middle-earth into different ages, which is exactly what we will do in this video. I will try to keep this as high level as it is possible. However, there will be mentions of events, people, and places, but stay with me, we will get to know all of them in future videos. Now, back to our topic at hand, the Ages of Middle-earth. The music before time, creation through harmony. Before time existed, before even light or shape, there was only Ilúvatar, the One. From his mind came the Ainur, immortal spirits, each embodying an aspect of thought, will, or emotion. They were the first beings, and their purpose was to sing. Ilúvatar gave them a theme, and they sang together, at first in perfect harmony. But among them was Melkor, the most powerful of the Ainur. He sought to add his own notes, guided by a desire for power and creation that was not his to command. What followed was no longer just music, but conflict within sound. Still, from this great clash of harmony and discord, a vision of a world emerged. Ilúvatar showed the Ainur what their music had created. Arda, a world of seas and lands, of beauty and danger, of order and change. The timeless ages, the light before the sun. The Valar shaped the world, raising mountains, carving seas, giving form to sky and land. To bring light, they created two mighty lamps, but Melkor destroyed them, plunging Arda into chaos. Retreating to the west, the Valar created Valinor, and within it two radiant trees, Telperion and Laurelin, silver and gold, alternating in light. In this age, the Elves awakened under the stars. The Valar called them westward. Some followed, some refused, others were captured by Melkor. Among the Noldor, a child was born, Feanor, son of Finwë, king of the Noldor. Feanor created the Silmarils, jewels holding the light of the two trees. Melkor desired them. He allied with Ungoliant, destroyed the trees, killed Finwë, and stole the Silmarils. Feanor swore a terrible oath and led the Noldor into exile. In doing so, he brought ruin upon his people. Then, for the first time, the sun rose, and with it, measured time began. Thus began the First Age. The First Age. With the rising of the sun, the world entered a new phase. History could now be counted. The First Age began, and with it, the long struggle against the dark power of Morgoth, the name Melkor now bore. The Elves who had returned from Valinor, led by Feanor and his sons, established kingdoms in the lands of Beleriand, west of the Blue Mountains. There they built strongholds and sought to recover the Silmarils from Morgoth, who had fortified himself in the vast fortress of Angband. At first, the elves held the advantage. A long siege of Angband began, but Morgoth, ever cunning, waited. And when he struck, it was with overwhelming force. The First Age is defined by a series of catastrophic wars, 5 great battles in total that would scar the land and shape its fate. In the Dagor Bragolach, the Battle of the Sudden Flame, Morgoth broke the siege with rivers of fire, shattering the elvish lines and killing many great lords. In the Nirnaeth Arnoediad, the Battle of Unnumbered Tears, elves, men, and dwarves united in a last attempt to defeat Morgoth. But they were betrayed and crushed. Cities fell, and once bright realms like Nargothrond, Doriath, and Gondolin were lost one by one. But even in this age of sorrow, there were glimpses of hope and heroism. Beren and Luthien, a mortal man and an immortal elf, defied the Dark Lord and retrieved a Silmaril from his crown. Turin Turambar, cursed and valiant, fought against fate itself. And in hidden Gondolin, a boy was born who would carry the future of both elves and men, Eärendil. In the end, it was Eärendil who sailed west across the Forbidden Sea to Valinor, bearing a Silmaril and begging the Valar to save the world. And they listened. In the final conflict, the War of Wrath, the hosts of Valinor descended upon Middle-earth. Morgoth was overthrown, but the cost was great. Beleriand sank beneath the sea, never to rise again. The Silmarils were lost, one to the sky, one to the earth, and one to the sea. The First Age ended in ruin and remembrance. The Second Age. With the defeat of Morgoth, the world could begin to heal and a new age dawned. The Second Age was a time of rebuilding and rising powers. Many of the elves who had fought in Beleriand established new realms in the remaining lands of Middle-earth. Among them were Gil-galad in Lindon and Celebrimbor, the grandson of Feanor, who founded the great city of Eregion near the Misty Mountains. In this age, the race of men came into its own. As a reward for their loyalty in the war against Morgoth, a noble line of men, the Edain, were gifted a new island realm, Númenor, rising from the sea far to the west. There they built a mighty civilization, blessed with long life, great knowledge, and strength unmatched among men. But evil had not vanished. In secret, Sauron, Morgoth's former lieutenant, returned. He took on a fair form and came to the elves as a teacher, seducing them with promises of knowledge and power. Together with Celebrimbor, he forged the rings of power, tools meant to preserve and protect. But in secret, Sauron created the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom to dominate the others and enslave their bearers. When his treachery was revealed, war broke out. Sauron turned his attention to Númenor, now a proud and powerful kingdom. In time, he was brought there as a prisoner, but quickly corrupted the Númenorian king and his court. They turned against the Valar and attempted to invade the Undying Lands, as the last alliance of elves and men laid siege to Mordor. In the final battle, they turned against the Valar and attempted to invade the Undying Lands. As punishment, Númenor was drowned, and the once great island was swallowed by the sea. But not all was lost. A small group of faithful Númenorians, led by Elendil and his sons Isildur and Anarion, escaped the cataclysm and founded the kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor in Middle-earth. Sauron returned as a dark warlord, and the Second Age ended in fire and blood, as the last alliance of elves and men laid siege to Mordor. In the final battle, Isildur cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand, and the Dark Lord was vanquished. But the ring was not destroyed, and so the shadow lingered. The Third Age. The Third Age began in the aftermath of great victory, but also with a grave mistake. Though Sauron had fallen, the One Ring survived. Isildur claimed it, ignoring the warnings of the elves. But the ring betrayed him. He was ambushed and killed, and the ring was lost. To time, to river, to shadow. This age became one of waiting and forgetting. Kingdoms of men, like Gondor and Arnor, struggled with decline. The elves, wary of the world, began to fade. The dwarves retreated to their halls, and Sauron, though defeated, began to take shape once more. The ring was found by a creature named Gollum, and later taken by Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit from the Shire. What seemed like a curious trinket would soon awaken a great evil. As Sauron rose again in Mordor, building armies and spreading fear, a new light stirred in opposition. The wizard Gandalf, Elrond of Rivendell, and Galadriel of Lothlorien formed a quiet alliance. And when the ring passed to Bilbo's heir Frodo, a dangerous choice was made. The ring must be destroyed. Thus began the quest of the Fellowship of the Ring. 9 companions who set out from Rivendell to cross mountains, mines, and marshes toward the dark heart of Mordor. The Third Age reaches its climax in this final war. Mordor unleashes its armies upon Gondor. Rohan rides to its aid. The Fellowship is broken, but each part plays its role, and Frodo, in secrecy, carries the ring into the fire. When the ring is finally cast into the cracks of doom, Sauron is utterly destroyed. His tower crumbles, his armies scatter, but the victory comes at a cost. The elves prepare to leave Middle-earth. Magic fades. The old world comes to an end. And with the crowning of Aragorn as King of Gondor, the Fourth Age begins. The Fourth Age. With Sauron defeated and the ring destroyed, the story that began in divine music now ends in the hands of men. Aragorn, heir of ancient kings, takes the throne of the reunited kingdom, uniting Gondor and Arnor. His reign brings peace, healing, and a renewal of old alliances. But it also marks a turning point. The time of elves, dwarves, and magic is coming to an end. The elves depart westward, sailing from the Grey Havens into the Undying Lands. Among them are Galadriel, Elrond, and Frodo, burdened by wounds that cannot heal in Middle-earth. The Age of Wonders fades gently into memory. The dwarves withdraw into their mountain halls, and the Ents continue their slow search for the Ent wives, fading silent guardians of ancient forests. The world becomes more familiar, more human. In the Fourth Age, there are no longer great wars of gods and demons. Instead, the world becomes one of kings, of legacies, of choices made by mortal hands. Magic lingers only in ruins, in stories, and in song. It is an age that leads, eventually, to our own, a distant echo of a mythic past where the stars still shine over lands once shaped by music and flame. What Tolkien created is not just a fairy tale, it is a myth. A story of creation, rebellion, courage, loss, and hope. I can't remember where I heard it, but someone once said that reading The Lord of the Rings feels more like reading history than reading a work of fiction. And the reason for that is the ages full of events that build upon another and ultimately lead to what is The Lord of the Rings. In the next episode, we start at the very beginning with Ilúvatar, the Ainur, and the music that gave birth to a world. Thank you for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for alerts. Thanks again for watching. This is Nerdpost 27. See you next time.